Size super simple recipes number 28. Pork and apple pie. Now before we start today's recipe, I just wanted to show you this. My father-in-law came up this morning and left me these absolutely amazing onions and tomatoes. The flavours are fantastic, and I just wanted to big him up a little bit because he drops off these things during the late summer and autumn almost every other day, various bits and pieces of veg, and I just thought he deserved a mention before we get on with the actual recipe. So there they are. Thank you, John. So on to today's actual recipe. I'm going to make basically an apple pie, but I've got this piece of pork that's actually a bit of belly. It's not too fatty, and I'm going to mix the two. Now pork goes well with fruit anyway, and pork and apple have a quite long history, especially in the UK. So although it seems like an odd combination, you should end up with a nice sort of sweet and sour effect to it, and I'm sure it'll be fab. I'm using soft brown sugar, and I've got some of that nice cheapo puff pastry for the topping. So I've got to prep these, and then I'll come back and we'll get on with assembling our pie. Okay, I've diced the pork. My apples are cored, peeled and diced. I'm going to chuck all these in to my pot. Let's hope it'll all fit. I think it might, because it will obviously cook down somewhat. Maybe it won't, maybe we'll need a bigger pie dish. We'll see what happens. Looks like we're going to need a bigger dish. Right, I've obviously made far too much. Let me get a bigger dish. Damn it. It's only just going to fit in this one. The last of my brown sugar out. A few sultanas, because I like sultanas. And I'm going to bung a bit of cinnamon, because apple and cinnamon's a classic. A bit more. Now, the problem is, there's no liquid in there. So what I've got here is a really, really weak stock. This is a bit of chicken stock. This is just to help get everything going. I know it seems a little bit strange that we're using a bit of chicken stock with an apple pie, but trust me, it'll work. So we need to cover that with some foil and pop that in the oven at 150, and I'm going to give it like an hour and a half to 2 hours. I want the apples to go completely soft, but hopefully not to completely fall apart. So can I get the foil out without knocking everything in the house down? Yeah. again, looks like we may need to tent it a little bit because I don't really want it to touch all the apple and burn to the bottom of the foil. And that's going to go straight into the oven, 150 to 175. I'm going to give that at least an hour and a half. We'll come back and see what we've got once that comes out of the oven. My pie's now been in for an hour and a half, so we'll take it out and see what it's like, see if it needs a bit longer. Meanwhile, I've made a little bit of an egg wash. Oh, to see. Oh, it smells really good. Right, take this off carefully in case I need to put it back in the oven a bit. Oh, that's fab. The apples have gone really lovely and soft. A bit of a gravy going on there, but not too much. And the pork's cooked through. Fab. Right, we'll let that cool just a little bit, and we'll turn the oven up a little to do the pastry topping. Put a bit of a stir around. Distribute everything evenly. Oh, I wish you could smell the apple and cinnamon smells coming off this. Really good. There we are. Let's lose that. I've got my usual El Cheapo puff pastry. Scissors. So we want a wash brush. This one, there we are. And we're going to line the top of the dish quickly. So give that pasty something to stick to. Bum, 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 bum. Get ourselves a fork and we'll crimp and dress the edges there. Bum, ba, bum. Trim off the excess pastry, and again I'll reserve that to use for something else. Pop it back in its parchment, stick it in the freezer. fair amount there for something else then. Got a couple of little puncture wounds through the pastry to allow any excess gas to escape, and then give it a nice coating of wash so that it will brown and raise up and be lovely. And that's going to take about 20 minutes. In the oven at about 180 to 200, and hopefully we'll have a nicely risen puff pastry on the top. So I don't think I've missed any bits. And we'll whack that straight back in the oven. Ba-ba-da-ba-ba-ba-doo. We'll come back and see if I burn it to a fucking crisp in 20 minutes. Part of the reason why I'm having this bit of comfort food today, today's the day my wife was supposed to be discharged from hospital, but due to another enormous NHS fuck up, it's not going to happen. That pie's been in the oven now for about 15-16 minutes, but it looks like it's already done, so wow. Oh, let's have a look what we got. Size, super simple pork and apple pie. Job done.